welcome to a special episode of Friends and Film, a podcast discussing the latest movie news and theatrical releases. On this episode, we're going to preview Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, and iTunes at Friends and Film. As always, I'm your host, Cooper Hood, once again joined by my lovely co-host, Josh Straley.
And I am hooked on a feeling, my friend.
Yeah?
Because I have a feeling that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2...
That's right.
...is going to be something special.
That's good.
Yeah. And I'm so stoked to preview it.
Yeah? Okay, well, as we move into this preview, why are you so excited about this?
Because, well, James Gunn scored Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, perfectly. And not only did he make a great movie, he had a great set list to it.
Are you saying it's a perfect 5-ticket stub?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And I just did my rewatch, and everything about it is just jammy and fun. It never settles down too long, and it's just always moving, and he does a great job putting together a cast of characters that are hilarious in their own right. Mm-hmm. So crazy that you're like, what? I want to know about this dude. Like, why are you here? Like, Thrax still on my rewatches gets me to laugh every line he delivers. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited, though, because once I finished my first watch of Guardians, the song, the track list, the score stuck with me. Yep. And anytime I would start playing those songs, the movie would just run over and over in my head again, along with the songs. Mm-hmm. Like anytime I hear Pina Coladas, I see Star-Lord just floating right through space, you know, going back for his, he goes back for the headphones, right? And the tape recorder? Yeah. Yep. So I'm expecting this to be the same thing, you know? What about you?
Yeah, I mean, echo all those same feelings about Awesome Mix Volume 1, and I think Awesome Mix Volume 2 is going to be hopefully just as great. I know you know the songs that are on that set list. I do not. Just not because I think it's going to spoil the movie or anything, but I didn't really know any of the songs are going to be on Volume 1, mm-hmm. and I went in and I was like, I love all these songs. Yeah. And so I don't want to go into the expectation saying, oh, okay, well, this song happens, it's in the middle of the set list. So this is going to happen at the big climactic moment of the movie. And then it actually happens in the first act or something. I don't want to have any, previous notion of, okay, well, I like this song. I hope this song goes here. I hope this song fits here. I just want to go in and see where James Gunn fits all these songs and everything. But even outside of the songs, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is a fantastic movie. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. I want to give it the perfect 5-ticket stub. Just because I'm a big fan of Lee Pace and I liked what they did with Ronan. Yeah. But the way his arc ends in the third act, I was like, oh,
the dance off.
The dance off was hilarious, but I didn't like that they just killed him off so quickly. Even though it's a great moment with all the Guardians standing there, absorbing the Power Stone, I was like, I would have loved to see him come back for more, so we'll have to see. I hope that the villain is a little better. If it is, then I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 can be, if it matches everything else, it can be that 5-ticket stub movie. But if not, I mean, if this movie's not 5-ticket stubs or whatever, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I'm so disappointed in the movie, because it's difficult to make a sequel better than the first movie. In a lot of cases, especially if that first movie is great. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you make a movie like X-Men Origins, making the Wolverines a lot easier because people are expecting, well, as long as it's not as bad as Origins, it'll be pretty good. And you get that. But when you make a movie that's like Guardians or like Iron Man,
sure,
or Avengers or whatever, that second movie has a lot of expectations to live up to, and it's the same thing with this. It's my most anticipated movie of the year, so I have all those expectations, but my expectations aren't expecting it to be the best movie of all time or the best MCU movie. I'm just expecting a really, really fun time with great jokes, great action, great characters, and a lot of great songs.
Awesome. All right. What would you give the old one though?
4.5.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's not a huge criticism. If anything, it's almost there.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But it's just like there's a lot of movies that are like that where it's a 9 because something happens in that third act where everything's going along smoothly, but then there's just that one thing like Matrix, the kiss. I'm like, come on, that's so stupid. That like I just watched Jurassic Park and this might be like contradictory. Like maybe this is
the
not,
T-Rex.
No.
Oh.
I'm a computer hacker. I can save the day. I'm like, come on.
No, she's a kid of the 80s. Kids in the 80s love computers.
This makes me roll my eyes.
Okay.
So I'm like, come on. So you're telling me if any other kid was there, they're all dead.
Yeah. Well, you have to suspend. Listen, you suspended your imagination to dinosaurs. You can't suspend your imagination just a little bit more.
It's not the suspension disbelief. It's almost just like the coincidence of it all.
Well, they reset everything. Like Sam Jackson had to do. Remember, hold on to your butts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, oh, but I know how to work computers. Nobody else does because I'm
It took her like
old.
10 minutes, if that.
No, it didn't.
30
less
seconds.
than a minute.
Okay.
So I'm just like, just little things like that. It can hurt the movie, especially if it's something that is going along super smoothly. I don't know if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is going to have that same super smooth ride. It's got positive reviews so far, but it's not as positive as it was for the first one, where it still may have like a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes or something, but that average score is 6.5 instead of a 8.5 or something. Like there's a varying degree of enjoyment for this sequel. So I mean, it takes place 2 months after the first one, so in terms of the off-screen progression of these characters is not going to be super huge, but it's still going to be something that there's going to be a little gap. So I'm interested to see how they fill all that stuff in.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know how Drax learned how to use euphemisms and metaphors.
You mean Drax?
Drax. Thank you. I think I called him Thrax twice. But yeah, the first trailer, he's using like metaphors and similes and things like that, talking to Star-Lord. So hopefully the progression, there's some kind of indication of more progression on his part. I just think he's awesome.
So we've done our overall expectations for the movie. What do you expect from this story? How do you expect it to play out? Do you expect it to be like super, like, I mean, obviously the story is important, but how important? What are your overall expectations on the plot?
Well, we've gotten hints and so forth that it's going to be focused around Star-Lord and him and his dad. So I'm curious to how he gets out that way, because he didn't seem like he was super interested in going looking for him at the end of the first one. So when I think about the movie, what's going to be the deciding factor that says, hey, you're going to go look for your dad? Or is he going to stumble across him?
Yeah, I think it's Ego seeking Star-Lord out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, we know Yondu has some idea of who his dad is. So I was wondering, what gets Yondu to want to pair up with Star-Lord, and why are they both showing up at Ego's base, or is Ego showing up to them? Like, so that's what I'm curious about. What's the, I don't want to say MacGuffin, but what's the big pivot point that sets the adventure into motion? Because I mean, obviously I can't wait to see what Aisha's up to and the other hordes of characters that they got waiting in the wings, but that's where I'm really curious about. Just what does this movie hinge on? What's at stake? And Gunn's been really good at not showing his hand at almost any of it, other than like the bomb of Baby Groot. So, but where do you think it's going? What do you think we've got to see here? Because I think you're much more invested in Guardians than me.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
Okay.
I think just like some of the points you brought up, the kind of MacGuffin, or like, I don't know how they meet Ego. I think it is Kurt Russell seeking out Star-Lord instead of the opposite way around, where maybe he's almost a saving grace to them, because we know that from that opening battle against the obelisk, big octopus looking thing, that Rocket then, like, they're there to protect these like super batteries, and they do so, but Rocket's like, these things are worth a lot of money. I'm going to pocket a few of them. And he does so, and then the Sovereign come after them, and that's how they get into trouble with them, and then the Ravagers get into play because they're still hunting them down. And I think what happens ultimately is, the Ravagers cross paths with the Guardians shortly after that conflict with the Sovereign happens, and Yondu's like, well, we should like let them off the hook a little bit because they didn't do everything wrong or something, and then that's when the Ravagers basically overthrow Yondu as their leader and like, you're too soft on them. We have to put these guys away, and like they're our biggest competition. They keep stopping us from like having our goals met and everything, so we're gonna lock you up. That's when I think they get like Rocket and Groot and captured, and then we get that part where like Groot's running down and he's like yelling angry at that one guy who's running away terrified, and then Yondu like killing all those guys falling down slow-mo. All that's happening, and then the rest of the Guardians are off with Ego on their own like almost separate adventure, where that's where Ego and Star-Lord are figuring out what it's like to be a father and son together. But like I think the movie starts with like the Guardians being super cocky. I mean, I think that's already known that like they're pretty full of themselves because they've saved the galaxy. Like the tagline, one of the taglines of the movie is "You can only save the galaxy twice once." But I think after they meet Ego and all that stuff happens, then the Sovereign are still after them, the Ravagers are still after them, and then the other Guardians go to save Rocket and Groot, and in doing so, they're like, "Wait, Yondu, you're locked up. Come be with us." He does that. They're all team now.
Oh man.
But I think that's pretty much all we've seen from the trailers. That's what I can gather from the trailers, and the rest of what I think is happening is just pure speculation on my end. Piecing together bits and pieces of other information.
Sure.
And I still think it's legitimately possible that Ego turns out to be the big bad here.
I think so too, though, because I mean, if you're introducing the dad, like they get along and that's the happy ending,
right?
It's almost too easy.
Yeah, because you can't introduce that dad that's been away for your entire life, also meeting your basically other dad in Yondu. All of them are not going to get along. Be like, okay, we're all happy family. Let's all live on Ego.
Right.
Let's live on my dad, basically. Like that's not how it's going to be. And I think it's much more interesting if this movie is about family and the family dynamics and what it means to be a family that, after all this time, Peter's been searching for his father, whether he knows it or not almost. And after all of this, he comes to realize he meets his father, and almost like what we talked about with the Last Jedi trailer, where Rey says sometimes when you meet your idols, it's not always what you think it's going to be.
Sure,
it's going to be a very similar thing, I think, where they meet each other, and it's kind of all you hit it off to start because you want that relationship to work out, but then as it progresses, Ego is somebody who's been he's been away and like out of sight in the universe for a long time, and ultimately it comes down to maybe he tries to betray them, and I think he betrays them in some way where, he learns that there's a big bounty on the head of Yondu or something, or just the Guardians in general. And he goes, he alerts the Ravagers of the Sovereign in some backdoor way that, hey, these guys are living right here. You can come pick them up whenever you want. And that's when all hell breaks loose, basically. And then you get that emotional distraught of Peter going, like, you
sold us out.
You sold us out. You tried, especially if it's for Yondu. Like if he specifically does this to spite Yondu, then like I don't think Peter's gonna have any of that. Yeah. And then it totally flips that family dynamic where family is not always biological. It's almost a lot more of the times it's
who's got your back.
Yeah. And, the Guardians have been a family, even though they're not biological family. And then if they're kind of expanding that idea to distance themselves farther and farther away from the idea of family's only biological, I think this would be a great way to go. And then after that turn happens, there's some big, gigantic fight that happens in the third act. Well, and
hopefully he doesn't like sell them out for money. Maybe it's like a disagreement of principle. Does that?
Yeah.
I like that better.
I don't see Ego being somebody who is like, I need more money. I see it more of like, you guys, like, Yondu's a bad influence on you or something. Yes. And, I think I can teach you to be a better hero or whatever. Or
not down with the style.
Or maybe he's just trying to get in on whatever the Guardians are the biggest name in the galaxy. Basically to quote Zoolander, the Guardians are so hot right now. I think that's
sure.
that's a very real possibility and something I would love to see play out. There hasn't really been any hints of that in the marketing or anything outside of we talked about Matthew McConaughey possibly being Adam Warlock in our dreams, and he was initially approached for the Kurt Russell role, and at the time it was reported, it was saying that he was, or after he passed, the report was that he passed on the villain role. And I feel like they're being so heavy-handed with, I mean, you can only be so angry about stealing batteries, and if the Guardians are going through all this trouble, I feel like at a certain point they'll just they'll give them back instead of going through all this trouble.
Yeah. So, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Kurt Russell's part, even though they did give it away, they told us, he remains like the biggest mystery to me, as alongside of, what the Sidewinder is, to get them out there.
Yeah. So, those are my expectations on the plot. Those are yours. Moving on to the characters. We have Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt once again. What do you expect to get at a Star-Lord this time around? Well,
the opening trailer, the first time around, we got a good look at him still wondering how he can get out of the friend zone with Gamora. So that's obviously going to be something, but then definitely put on hold because, holy crap, his dad's back. And then he has to deal with the fact his dad is a planet. So that's going to make for some good conversations, especially about how he was conceived. So I think,
yes.
But Chris Pratt is a lovely actor, and he's always brought fun to the roles that, require him to be fun. And I'm really looking forward to seeing his take on the Star-Lord's next step.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of his next step in the evolution of being a leader. Meeting his dad's obviously going to throw a wrench into that situation, and just seeing how else they go about this. I think that's going to be great to see him. Hopefully he can kind of expand to be not just a comedy guy, but also show his dramatic chops as well.
Yeah. So
moving on to Gamora, it's the other half of that, that relationship there, played by Zoe Saldana. What do you expect from her?
Well, she was always in the first one. She didn't really have a lot going on other than, all right, I'm finally out from underneath like an not oppressive, but being told what to do my way is like, she's finally trying to like make her own way. So it'll be interesting to see how she's progressing with that in this next movie, especially, dealing with Star-Lord, but also, what are her aspirations and so forth. And it's going to be interesting to see how she interacts with another character we have coming back, Nebula, because that's obviously an important sister bond. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Nebula is basically the reason why they do the job for the Sovereign, is to get her back, send her to the Nova Corps. That obviously doesn't happen, but yeah, I mean, Gamora. I mean, I love Zoe Saldana as Gamora. She's the other half of that Star-Lord Gamora relationship, and I think it's going to blossom a little bit more here. But hopefully, she will also get more meat to her role this time around. I feel like she will, with playing more of that sister dynamic up. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, as long as she can have some jokes, do a lot of cool action stuff, I'll be pretty satisfied.
She's got some epic scenes already going for her. So, especially that wall run just looks epic.
The wall run.
Oh, and it looks like it's the opening scene. She's doing something epic, like a backflip off of a wall with the sword in her hand.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, it's during the obelisk fight.
Is it when she's walking up, like she's running up the obelisk leg?
Yes,
okay,
that's what it is. Not a wall. It's a pink
yeah, it's a big pink tentacle.
Okay.
But yeah, we also have Drax, once again played by Dave Bautista. I expect him to just have a lot of jokes, like a lot of jokes. But also, I mean, he is Drax the Destroyer, so hopefully he gets a lot of opportunities to destroy some things.
Yeah, it looks like he's very emotionally frustrated with every situation that they're finding themselves in. He's like two-blading, tearing apart something, and like 4 or 5 clips of the trailer. Doesn't seem to be happy with the ship in certain parts, and it looks like he's going to be a thorn in Star-Lord's side a lot of the time too, especially when it comes to him, working through his emotions with Gamora. So yeah, I'm definitely so excited to have Drax back.
Yeah. Then we also have the shortest member of the Guardians now, formerly the tallest, Baby Groot, Vin Diesel, once again voicing the role. Do you expect anything else out of him besides just being an overload of cuteness?
Other than, that's what he's there for. I think this time around, he was, believe it or not, he was cute in the first one too, and now he's built for it this time around. So him and Rocket are gonna be epic. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he gets, his moment where he's running down the hallway basically and yelling at that other Ravager. As long as he gets a couple of moments like that where he's not just basically just unaware of what's happening around him, where he's waving at Gamora during the middle of a battle, and she's like, "Hi, I see you." I'm a little busy here. Then I think it'll be. I'm sure he'll be a standout on a BB-8 level, but even more so probably.
Yeah.
But his other counterpart, Rocket Raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper. Also shout out to Sean Gunn for doing the mocap for this. I think Rocket's arc in the first movie isn't. I mean, it is huge in the sense where he was just all about the money. To then at the end of the movie, he's not as much about the money, but still about the money.
Yeah.
But I want to know more about his backstory. We see his scars on his back from all the operations and everything. I want to know more about that life and just how he got to where he is today. But also, it's the opposite dynamic where now he is the big brother to Groot, and I want to see how that plays out.
Yeah, he's got to be the parent, the adult in this in this situation this time around. That's why that first scene plays so well, is because he's literally a guy with no patience whatsoever, and he's trying to coach Groot through it, and it's just hilarious. And yeah, we don't know a whole lot about how he ended up that way, other than he complains about it once or twice, about having every part of him picked and poked, in the first one. So it'd be interesting to see how a raccoon got into outer space, because that's something from Earth. So,
right.
Or could be.
Right, yeah, because Peter calls him a raccoon in the first week. He's like, "What's that?"
Oh, that's right.
He's like, "It's you." He's like, "Ain't no thing like me except me."
Okay.
Still my favorite lines from Rocket.
But yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so we also have joining the Guardians this time around, not opposing them. For at least the majority of the movie will be Yondu, once again played by Michael Rooker. He's got a tall fin this time around, not just a little almost buzz cut fade that he had in the first movie. I'm expecting him to be a pretty big factor, especially if Ego does turn out to be bad. Then, I feel like he'll be right there by Peter's side the entire movie, the rest of the way. And I'm just looking forward to seeing Yondu be a good guy and do a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, and you got me stoked for him too when you're talking about your expectations of the plot, because is there a possibility him, Rocket, and Baby Groot got 20 minutes or so together kicking butt?
Oh, sure.
Because that would be epic, especially because those are two people who, they don't take things slow at all.
No.
So
well, that's why I'm pretty sure, I know from the trailers that they're all locked up by the Ravagers, and then Baby Groot is the one that and they're kind of enslaved to them almost.
Yeah.
Baby Groot's really sad, and then Rock convinces him go find Yondu's fin so we can get out of here, and he keeps bringing them back all these wrong things. He brings them back like an animal at one point. They're like, no, it's something completely different. So. I think their dynamic, I think, is going to be a really big part of the first act, or maybe first act and a half or something. But I think once they're back in the group, it'll be less Rocket, Groot, and Yondu, more Rocket and Groot, and then Yondu and Star-Lord. But I still love the one from the trailer where Yondu's like, "What do you say?" And he's like, "So welcome to the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy."
Yes.
Except it didn't say freaking. I really hope that is in the movie and not just one of the jokes that is in the marketing and then cut out, because it's hilarious.
But Michael Rooker is great, and I'm glad he's back.
Yeah. And the other member that was formerly a nemesis joining the Guardians this time around will be Nebula, played by Karen Gillan. We talked about her on our review of The Circle on this last week's episode of the podcast. And now that she's back being a blue-skinned alien with a lot of robotic enhancements, what do you expect?
Yeah, I expect Karen Gillan to kill it again. She didn't have a lot of screen time last time around, or at least time on screen where she could be a dynamic character.
Right, do something. Yeah.
Yes.
So she just like stood there a lot of the time.
Exactly. And now she's been in the wilderness for 2.5 months or whatever the case is, and she's gonna, come back after losing their master
and her arm.
Yeah. So her chemistry with Zoe Saldana, I'm sure is probably gonna be brilliant, and I'm really anxious to see if how that all plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I expect her to be a very important part of the story with Zoe Saldana, or at least not necessarily maybe like the main story, but the sub story between I want to know more about their backstory and history. I mean, they're the daughters of Thanos, who's going to be a big player, obviously, in Avengers Infinity War, maybe Avengers 4 as well. I want to know more about that guy. And if you're not going to feature him, you can still tell us a lot about him by telling us basically like horror stories of these like events that both of these girls went through as children. Like, oh, you thought that was bad? Oh, this one time he did this to me. Oh, you thought that was bad? He made me do this thing. And you're like, holy crap, this guy is messed up.
Yeah, why is he the Mad Titan?
Yeah, like I want to know that. I think we're gonna get more of that, and I want to see them at each other's throats again. But then eventually, even if they're not like, oh, we love each other, they realize we're on the same side and we're going to make it work.
Yeah, at least extend the hand out and pick them up after a fall.
Yeah. But the one of the new members of the movie, but also of the Guardians team, is Mantis, played by Palm Clementif. She is a new character to the MCU, but an old character in the comics. She can feel emotion. She also has, and I don't know how they're going to do it in this movie, but she has the power to manipulate like plant life and everything as well. If they'll do that, I don't know. But what do you expect to see from Mantis?
Well, I don't know how she plays into any of this. Seems like she's coming out of left field. But also, Ego is a living planet, right? And she has the power to mess with plants, control plants. It almost makes me sound like she could be the gardener to Ego or something like that. I don't know. But the one scene, her one, shot in the trailer that she's got is hilarious. But I'm really curious to see how her powers, like you said, play out, in combat. Does she see combat typically?
I mean, she's also like a very good martial artist. So
sweet.
Hopefully, I mean, they haven't shown any action of her, so if she does get a chance to throw down, that's definitely going to be new stuff for the theater.
Potential scene stealers.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, she's going to be back for Infinity War, as well, basically all this cast. So if we don't see it now, we'll see it then, or in Guardians 3 or something. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how she's going to plan to do it. I feel like she's almost not a slave for Ego, but definitely somebody who works for him almost against her will,
without pay, for sure.
So I think once they find the Guardians and she realizes that they are just good people, and maybe again, if she knows that Ego's not a good person, then she'll try to be more with the Guardians, and then that way she can break away from him once that turn happens or something.
Drop those hints.
Or she can be the one that warns him, guys, Ego was just on the phone with the Ravagers and they were texting each other or whatever, and now they're on their way, so we need to get out of here.
Sure.
Because I feel like she's going to have that heart of gold, and she's apparently supposed to have a really close relationship with Drax, but not like a romantic one, just one that he's a very literal person, and she has not had much interaction with anybody else outside of Ego in her entire life.
Yeah.
So I like that dynamic that Drax was the former outsider. Now he's gonna coach the new outsider.
Yeah, with his skew logic.
Yeah,
you know how you learn something halfway and then you have to try to teach somebody else. So it's like a game of telephone where he just gets more screwed up as he goes.
I hope his first lesson is finger at throat means death, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the big guy that's joining the sequel, Kurt Russell, he is going to be Ego, the living planet. We've only seen his human form in the trailers and everything. They haven't even technically confirmed, I think, that he is going to have his planet form. We're going to see Kurt Russell's face on a planet, but that has to happen. And I mean, it's James Gunn. It's going to happen. I can't wait to see that. And I mean, if the plot plays out like we are thinking, then he's going to be a major, major, major factor. And hopefully, I mean, he'll be around. I mean, they've confirmed that he's going to be a big part of the MCU moving forward. So this is obviously not the end of his road, which I'm happy about because I mean he's not going to die. I mean, how do you kill a planet to begin with, anyways? But
a Death Star, Starkiller base.
Sure, I mean that's a big crossover to sneak into Guardians too.
Pitching here, okay?
So yeah, I mean I think he's going to be a really big part of the story, and I expect Kurt Russell to deliver on all the emotion and hopefully villainy as well.
Yeah, the image sticking in my head is Kurt Russell's face transplanted onto a planet, and that planet like hurtling towards like a group of Ravagers, and then his face just them. Like or something like that, where it's just like it's almost comically ridiculous that somebody's face is on a planet, like flying, almost not in slow motion, but just like charging into people or things or ships. So I find that hilarious. But yeah, I want to know. I like I said, I want to know what the deal is with Ego and Star-Lord's parentage and how that all plays out, but it's Kurt Russell, and he is definitely a very charming person. Like I think he made the Hateful Eight work. Without him, running the first 2.5 acts, it's a dull movie. But him and Sam Jackson just play off each other so well, and now he gets to work with Chris Pratt, someone else that's just as great. So the chances for comedy and his name's Ego, like what better of a role for Kurt Russell to have, the guy who was almost Han Solo. So yeah, can't wait to see him and looking forward to it.
Now according to the trailers, the big bad of the movie is Aisha, played by Elizabeth Debicki. She is the all gold looking figure, the leader of the sovereign race. In the comics, she's basically the female version of Adam Warlock, which we talked about a lot last week. I think I don't know if she's not the big bad of the movie. I don't know how big of a role she's going to have or if she'll be even that big of a role in the long run. But even if she's not, if she is laying the seeds for Adam Warlock, then that's I'll be happy with that role.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Elizabeth Debicki, only know her from one movie, but she acted the heck out of it in The Great Gatsby. So she's in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. She was the villain in that, and she was really good as that role. Okay.
And she was also in The Night Manager with Tom Hiddleston and the guy from House.
Oh yeah, and he's also Tom James from Veep, but I can't think of his name. Hugh Grant. No. Hugh something.
Hugh Laurie. There we go. Figured it out. Nailed it.
That's great detective work. But yeah, I don't know who Adam Warlock is. I don't know who Aisha is, but they sound awesome. Yeah. And if one's here, that means the other isn't, too far away.
Hopefully.
So, but hopefully Elizabeth Debicki has a memorable character.
Yes.
Because the whole outfit design looks epic too. Like somebody all in gold, and Rocket seems to be smart mouthing in front of him. So that banter back and forth could be really cool.
Yeah. I hope she's not just like straight-faced regal the whole time, and like there's some layers to her, and not just like I am perfect female, you will obey me, and almost like robotic. So we'll have to wait and see if that's the case or not. The other possible antagonist, it looks like, is going to be Taserface. That's right, that is actually his character's name, Taserface, played by Chris Sullivan. He was in The Nick. And I think he's also in This Is Us, the big NBC breakout series of this last fall and spring and everything. Nothing is really known about his role outside of he's basically a leader of a different faction of the Ravagers, which is why I think Yondu's overthrown. And there's like shots from the trailer, like standing, like screaming, like yes, we captured them, and you can see like Yondu and Rocket strapped on the ground, basically. I'm interested to see what he brings to the movie, even though I'm not necessarily expecting him to have like the biggest, most important role.
Yeah, I just Taserface sounds hilarious. Yeah. Like, I mean, him and Yondu's like, seem like they would have a back and forth. So, and like you mentioned a while ago, like, or just now he's a new faction, which could explain the whole new get-ups that they're wearing.
Yeah.
So, hopefully he turns out to be an antagonist like Yondu felt in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Someone memorable, someone who sticks with you and has at least one or two scenes where you just can't help but laugh at what they're doing or what they're about to do or what their goals are.
I think he'll be a little more villainous than Yondu.
Okay.
But I don't think by much. Last character I wanted to mention real quick. We talked about a couple weeks ago. Sylvester Stallone is in the movie. We won't say who he is because we talked about that before. That's a possible spoiler because it's not necessarily been like heavily revealed in the marketing that, hey, this is who Sylvester Stallone's playing. But we do know his character. I'm excited that who he is playing. And we know he's going to be around for a long time, hopefully. So I'm just interested to see my first look at him and make sure I'm as excited as I should be that Sylvester Stallone is going to have a big role in the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, I have an attachment to places and characters that remind me of classic Nintendo games. So I'm very excited for Sylvester Stallone. I don't know anything else about the guy.
Yeah.
Other than he's a great actor. So let's go.
There we go. So those are the big characters of the movie. The one thing we always love to do on our preview episodes is speculate on who's going to die, because movies typically have deaths in them. Whether it's a Disney Pixar movie, which always kill the mother or whatever it is going to be.
Yeah.
Somebody typically dies in a movie to kick off some sort of the plot or end the plot. This is a superhero movie where the villains don't necessarily always stick around the longest. So, do you think anybody's going to die? If so, who could it be?
I've got two people that I think can bite the dust. One, it's Taserface. I think Baby Groot, could just wreak havoc on the guy.
That'd be awesome.
But the one that I think is more consequential, perhaps, is I don't know. Well, no, we've learned that she's coming back. Nebula, right? Never mind. So throw that one out.
Yeah.
So I just see Taserface biting the dust.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty much in line with you there. A couple months ago, I would have said I think Yondu's a goner, because I think it'd be really dope if start of the third act is Ego turning on them and in doing so killing Yondu, and basically just shattering Peter Quill's world of my real father killed the guy that's actually been my father for my entire life, basically. I thought that'd be really cool. But he is back for Infinity War as well, so that's clearly not happening unless it's a flashback or something. But
do we have Glenn Close back in this movie?
Yeah,
she's making an appearance.
Yes. I think it's a brief one though. It's not. I don't think it's as big of a role.
I'm gonna hedge my bets on her.
Before.
Then I'm gonna go all on black that she shows up to get blown away somehow, which would be ridiculous, but I gotta have somebody other than Taserface, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's either Taserface or it's Aisha. Just because, I mean, if you are gonna introduce Adam Warlock in the next movie, like, why do you need the evil female version of him?
Right.
Like, where is she gonna? She's not gonna come back, I don't think. Unless her arc plays out completely differently than I anticipated. But yeah, I mean, I think it's them. Since we know all the Guardians are coming back, we know you're not killing Ego. Sylvester Stallone's making it out.
Yeah,
it's going to be Ravagers. And it's going to be Sovereign people, and unless they introduce some other secret characters, like maybe Michael Rosenbaum or something, like, or some other secret cameos, maybe they could bite the dust. But at that point, it's almost insignificant.
Yeah.
So it's not as big a deal. So the other thing we know about this movie is Marvel loves post-credit scenes. They typically have a mid-post-credit scene plus a post-credit scene as well. And this time, it has 5 credit scenes. I'm not sure when those happen in the sequence of the credits, if it's 1 to start and then credits and then 4 at the end, or if it's 1, 2 minutes credits, 1, 2 minutes credits, or whatever. But we know there are 5 scenes in the credits. What do you
Ooh.
think those are going to be?
Well,
Or what do you anticipate that we're going to get out of them?
well, part of James Gunn is he's a comic at times.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say 3 of those are just to mess with you stuff. Like Aftermath. Oh, we just saved the galaxy again, you know.
Yeah.
So here's Thrax showing
Drax.
Thank you. Showing Mantis, you know, the guardian ship, or you know, telling her something that he learned a movie ago, or whatever the case is. Baby Groot, more dancing, or you know, there's like little micro interactions that kind of sum up jokes that may have been throughout the movie. And then those other 2 will be the, oh, this just happened, and then the, oh, this is gonna happen type deal. Does that sound what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be 3 or 4 funny ones. One that will definitely have a huge implication, probably tease Adam Warlock or something. Maybe it'll just be like, you know, we need to find him next. It's like, who's him?
Yeah.
No, like, who's him? Him. Who is that? No, it's him. Like, his name is him.
Yeah.
Oh, him. And then just like ends. And you're like, people who don't know that Adam Warlock also goes by him, they're like, okay, that's a funny, weird way to end the movie. But people who know that Adam Warlock goes by him are like, holy crap, they're actually doing it, which they already like spoiled, I guess.
For sure.
Other than that, if there's 2 like serious ones or like that hint towards future things, maybe one with Sylvester Stallone's character. But I mean, other than that, because since it takes place 2 months after the first movie, you can't really tease their setup for Infinity War because that's 4 years away in their timeline. So you can't really like give them that hint of, you know, you guys should probably go to Earth soon.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll get to it in 4 years. That's
right.
It's a lot of time to put off stuff. So,
what about Howard the Duck? Do you think he's coming back?
I could definitely.
I think so too.
Do you think he'll cameo in the movie?
I think it would be a bold choice to put him in the movie, but I think him showing up at some kind of moment for 10, 15 seconds to interact with somebody. Maybe he's in the cages with Rocket and everybody. That sounds like something, perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't know, but I think he's coming back just because Gunn's seems to love that guy. So.
I mean, that'd be. I would love to see more Howard the Duck.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious. Last couple things before we get out of here. The box office. What do you expect it to make opening weekend domestically?
Ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot for 200 million.
Whoa!
I think it's got the momentum. The first one rocked everybody, right?
94 million in August.
Yeah. So think about it this way: Chris Pratt's never been a bigger star, and that's about it.
You're riding the Baby Groot train, that's for sure.
I'm riding the Baby Groot train, and the Chris Pratt is the hunk to get people in the seats. That's what I got.
I mean, I would definitely not be upset if it made 200 million. I don't think anybody would. I think more realistically, it'll probably come in at like 1. I'll say my official projection is, or prediction, I guess, not projection, because I don't have those stats or anything or information, but I'll say 173.
Okay, well that's like right in the ballpark of me here, man.
27 million is still a lot.
That's
like more than like
I'm
that's
guesstimating.
More than like, that's like probably 6 times as much as the Circle's going to make in its opening week.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's like the entire budget of this. No,
that's going to be its
my margin of error is
run.
The entire budget of the Circle. There we go.
There you go. So,
which, if you haven't checked out that review,
do so.
Take a look.
But maybe not see the movie. But tune in, I guess, to see whether or not we'd recommend it. But outside the box office, going in, we have our 5 ticket stub rating. You would give the first one a 5. I would give the first one a 4.5. I would love if Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is another 4.5 or a 5 ticket stub movie. I will still be satisfied if it's a 4. If it's 3 or 3.5, I'll be disappointed.
Okay.
But if it's like a 3.5 borderline 4, then I won't be as. But if it's like, well, this is like one of the worser, or one of the, is that a word, worser?
Yeah, more worse.
one of the
Worse
worst.
off.
One of the worst
Yes.
MCU movies. I'll be very disappointed to go from one of my top 5 favorites to my bottom 5 favorites.
I hear you. I think for me, at least ticket stub wise, I'm going to be looking for things that are wrong with this movie coming out of it. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and say I'm guessing a cautious 4 ticket stubs. I want to be wrong, and I think I will be with that projection because I love music, and anytime someone puts music to a movie, you know, in a meta way, I'm all about that. So,
have you already bought Volume 2 mixtape?
I compiled the set list and I have it saved on Spotify, but I have not played it yet.
Okay.
I want that to be known because you took a dig at me earlier.
I just know that you know the songs that are on there.
I know the songs that are on there, but
I know a couple of songs. I know Fox on the Run, and I know the other song that's been in the trailer, but
yeah.
I don't know anything else. Apparently, I do know that Ain't No Mountain High Enough is not on the set list,
which is
a huge continuity error.
Yes.
Because I don't know what you're thinking, James Gunn, but he, at the end of the first movie, he pops in Awesome Mix Volume 2, and what is the first song? Ain't No Mountain High Enough. It should be on there.
Yep.
But then it's also featured in if you buy Awesome Mix Volume 1,
right,
Ain't No Mountain High Enough is on there. So it's like, which one is it? I don't know. That's a huge continuity flaw, and it'll probably hurt the MCU in 10 years.
Probably.
Or probably not. And we're making a big deal about this as a joke. Yeah, that's it. That's our preview of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Josh, any final words?
I have none. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.
So yeah, thanks again for tuning in to the Offensive Film Podcast. If you liked this preview, head over to iTunes, give us a review with comments, then share this episode online, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. Let other people know that we previewed the episode, and hopefully you guys liked our thoughts. And if you don't, let us know why you don't. That'd be great to hear. You can Josh is on Twitter at JustJoshuaRyan, I believe. Right?
Yes, that's right on.
Perfect. And I am on Twitter at Coops_hoops, so you can tweet us your thoughts there, or just tweet back the main Friends and Film account at Friends and Film. But until next week, we'll be back with our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That is it. So go see Volume 2 in theaters this weekend, and tune in next week for our review.